with some Monday morning headlines and a Fox News alert. The leader of an ISIS affiliate in Afghanistan killed apparently in a U.S. drone strike. Officials say Saeed Orzaki was struck near the border with Pakistan. He is responsible for recent bombings that left hundreds of people dead. 10 other ISIS fighters were also killed. Meanwhile, a member of the U.S. Army's Golden Knights parachute team is among 4 killed in a weekend skydiving plane crash. 31-year-old Staff Sergeant Alex Batizevich was off duty at the time. The plane he was in burst into flames after crashing at the end of the runway in Georgia. One other person on board is in critical condition. The crash is under investigation. And Molly Tibbetts' father gives a heart-wrenching final goodbye to his daughter. Rob Tibbetts speaking to thousands packed inside Molly's former high school gymnasium for her funeral, saying, quote, "Today we need to turn the page. We're at the end of a long ordeal, but we need to turn toward life, Molly's life, because Molly's nobody's victim. Molly's my hero." Christian Rivera, who had been living in the United States illegally for at least 7 years, is accused of chasing and kidnapping Molly before killing her. That's the allegation. All right, Brian.
All right, the DNC voting to limit the influence of superdelegates in their presidential nomination process with one thing in mind for voters.
Making sure that at the end of the day, when the process is done to select the Democratic nominee, that they feel like their candidate got a fair shake.
And many didn't. You'll remember the superdelegates were blamed for swaying the nomination in favor of Hillary Clinton instead of Bernie Sanders before he even got out of the gates, causing an outrage among some Sanders supporters. So will this move help the Democrats heading into 2020? Joining us right now is the former National Justice Director for Bernie Sanders' campaign, Tezlyn Figaro. So Tezlyn, first off, is this a good move for the Democratic Party?
It is absolutely a good move. You know, I am so proud for sticking, to his guns and really pushing that through. I only wish that they would have released tapes. Where's Omarosa when you need her? I really would have loved to hear, so you could hear the hypocrisy of it all. People like myself by not allowing party change, by now allowing same-day registration. So this is a wonderful move. It really does show an act of courage to say that we want to take a step to heal that divide from 2016. But it's so much bigger than just Bernie Sanders. It's about actually having a fair democratic process.
Right. To me, it makes it more likely that Sanders is going to run because he already put a quote out there in support of it, saying this in a tweet: "Today's decision by the DNC is an important step." As I'll read off since the prompter's not moving, an important step forward, democratic and responsive to the input of many ordinary Americans, he goes on. Who are superdelegates? Lawmakers, former presidents, other party dignitaries, people who are not part of the primary process. So it almost looks like the favorite son or daughter gets a push above the others. Nancy Pelosi's among the others that are in. In the big picture, though, when it comes to leveling the playing field, do you believe that the Democrats are going to have the Republican-like field of 16, 2 tiers on the debates? Because there's so many names out there.
Well, I'm hoping so. The last time they said, a lot of people will be running, and we saw that it was only really 2 or 3 that actually took the leap and actually got the press coverage, to cover their races. So I'm hoping so. I think it's a good thing when you have competitive campaigns. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not interested in people running just to raise money or to build their profile. If they really don't have the true intentions of the American people at hand, that doesn't mean that people that they say, he doesn't have a shot, so he shouldn't run. I think people that don't have a shot should run. They make change like Senator Sanders did. They said he didn't have a chance. He still did not win, but look at the type of reform that he's been able to create within the Democratic Party. And I joined his campaign for that reason, not because I'm a socialist. I say that each and every time because I'm not. But the type of reform that we need within this process, the political process, is to have people run and take that leap. So I'm hoping we have at least 10 or plus more candidates to choose from. Right.
I guess it'll be out there. They could diffuse, but at least you'd have a real process, not Governor O'Malley, who really never even registered, even with I don't think anybody even in Maryland. And then Bernie Sanders came out of nowhere, and Hillary Clinton seemed to hold on with all the money and all the power. But in the big picture, too, clearly the mantra is going to be, I'm not Donald Trump. Don't you agree?
Well, I'm sure that probably will be the mantra. That's the easiest mantra to say. I mean, we know you're not Donald Trump. The question is, what are you going to do for people, you know, like myself? That's still going to be something that the Democratic Party is still going to have to challenge. No matter what's going on the other side of the aisle, no matter what's going on and what we see, you know, with investigations and so forth, you're still going to have to answer the question, how are you going to make life better for the average American citizen? And you're actually going to have to ride on what you believe and not who you're not or who you're most like. You know, a lot of candidates, oh, I'm just like Bernie Sanders. Well, that's not enough either. You know, what are you going to do? What are you going to put forward in front of the American people? And I think voters at this time around will be a lot more wise. At least I'm hoping so.
All right. And there's a lot of lawmakers who are saying don't bring up impeachment. Teslin, do you think you should bring up impeachment if you want to be successful in the midterms?
Well, you know, I don't think impeachment is going to have anything to do with what you're going to do as a congressman. I mean, you can certainly bring it up or not bring it up, but what does that have to do with your campaign platform? If your campaign platform is simply, I'm going to impeach Donald Trump and not talking about the actual needs of the constituents of your district, then they're having a problem with how to identify with their voters. You can be against Donald Trump. We get it. We know people are against him. We know there are people for him. We know there are people against him. The question is, are you for the things that matter to me? And I also want to say this. I'm hoping that more African Americans like myself become independent voters like me. I think that matters. Yeah. One of the things that they did that they changed was now you can change your party affiliation and you can do same-day registration. That's very important.
Teslin, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, 30 minutes before the top of the hour. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's the next Barack Obama. That's exactly what One News website is wondering and concluding. You bet Dan Bongino is fired up about this. He joins us to react. Plus, no fire equipment, no problem. A police officer fearlessly running into a burning home to save a family inside. That rescue caught on camera. There you go.